Hey guys, welcome to Full Out Flying Solo. We're trying this new thing where we're starting every episode of the Flying Solo with me reading a comment, my most full out comment on one of my stand-up clips of the week. And Molly has been sending them to me because I cannot read through all my comments because I would be on a 5150 hold in a mental institution. So I'm trying to take care of my mental health by not looking at them. Some of them are super nice and super funny, and I'm sorry if I don't respond to them. It's because I can't look at the 5% that are evil trolls. So, because I'll only remember those. All right, here's one that she sent me. It's on a video of mine. It's a joke of mine where I talk about being an agua mom, where I'm I have now become an agua mom because my son only speaks in Spanish, and I'm one of those white ladies at the park who's like, agua, agua, you want more agua? And then I'm like, yeah. These agua moms, they're always like, oh yeah, that means water. It's we all know that means water. I'm like, my son's bilingual. I just know so many of these women, and now I'm one of them. And so I have a joke about being an agua mom, and this is what somebody commented. I haven't read it yet, so here we go. It's from Miles_Serbius. I feel like this is going to be really insightful. Wait. So you leave 1-year-old at home with non-English speaking nanny so you can go out and tell jokes about it? ? Okay. I leave my 1-year-old at home with my husband most of the time at night so I can go out and tell jokes about leaving my 1-year-old at home all day with my nanny, who also speaks English, but is teaching my son a second language so that he can communicate with other people around the world and understand that we all don't live in just one little bubble where everybody speaks English, and that's the only language that matters, because there are actually, Miles_Serbius, a lot of other kind of people in the world who speak a lot of other languages. And sorry, Miles_Serbius, if you leave the US, you'll realize pretty quickly that US people, the fact that we do not learn a second language starting very young is so stupid, because we can't communicate with anybody else around the world. You never know what's going on. Whereas other people learn other languages starting at a child, very little, when you can actually pick up another language. Miles_Serbius, I also feel like you might speak another language, and English is not your first language either, because the way you typed this out, there's a lot of punctuation errors, and it seems like you're a non-English speaker as well. So guess what? I would never leave my 1-year-old with you. Okay, so let's move on. Okay, you guys, I feel the LA Marathon just happened last weekend, and I run every day. I also leave my 1-year-old at home when I go on a run every day. But I run every day because I feel like if I don't run, I'm gonna start slapping people at the grocery store, because I get so much pent up aggression in my body. I think it's because I grew up living in a gym. I was in a gym at least 5 hours a day most of my life. So now I need to move my body in some way or another to feel like a normal person. And I love running. I really love running, and it feels like my form of meditation. But I didn't do the LA Marathon, but a lot of my neighbors know me as the girl in the neighborhood who runs, and they've all stopped me and been like, did you do the marathon? Did you do the marathon? And I'm like, no, I didn't do the marathon. And they're like, oh, we were thinking of you, thought you might be doing the marathon. But I didn't do the marathon because I did do the marathon in 2019 because I signed up on a whim the week before. Okay, I run every day for 45 minutes, and I run 6 miles. So I run 45 minutes, 6 miles. And I used to do it first thing in the morning before my kids woke up, and I would be alone. And now that there's 2 kids and trying to get 2 kids out the door, it's too hard to leave my husband with everybody in the morning to go on a run. And I can't wake up at 5 in the morning anymore, because now I'm out most nights doing shows. And I've had to give up the fact that I'm a super early morning person to become a nighttime person. And it's been a big transition in my life that's been hard for me, because I really like being awake before everybody in the day, but I just cannot I used to be able to live on 5 hours of sleep, and now I can't. I don't know. I'm just too tired. I cannot open my eyes. So I run after my daughter leaves for school. But I started running like after I moved to LA. I was done cheering, and I was like, what am I gonna do with myself? And I think I talked about this before, but I had like a really bad eating disorder in Hawaii, and I moved to LA and I got over it. The first year of me living here was just like me, recovering, because somebody told me it's impossible to recover. So I was like, yeah, right, I'll show you. And I was like, I'm gonna recover from an eating disorder. But part of the time I was recovering, it was like, don't drink caffeine, don't exercise, don't do anything that will, contribute to your eating disorder. So for like 6 months, I stopped exercising, and it was the first time in my life where I wasn't moving my body. And then I started to feel like really better, I was like, I feel like I've, recovered, and I feel like I understand what I was doing to my body and how like detrimental that was. And like I felt a lot of like sadness about what I was doing to my body, and a lot of like post grief about like, oh my God, how did I, you just like no more. And I had a therapist who was like, but is there anything you miss about exercising? And I was like, yeah, because I loved exercising. Like I love the feeling of exercising, but I didn't trust myself for a long time to exercise again, because I was like, I'm gonna abuse this. And so I decided to set a cap at 45 minutes, because I read that running between 30 minutes to an hour is normal, and anything more than that is not normal. So I was like, okay, I'll like fall in between, and I'll do 45 minutes. And so that way, like I can't ever be like, I'm gonna run all day, And so I decided to run for 45 minutes, and it's weirdly become like the best thing I could have done for myself, because it feels so, I feel like in this town where it was really unstructured when I moved here, and it was like, you could get an acting job tomorrow that like you have to leave, or you can get a call in the middle of the day that you have to be at this place, and like my days were never my own, and I just had to be open to like swapping everything around all the time. And that was really hard for my anxiety, because I felt like, how am I ever gonna like accomplish anything or get anything done? And so I decided, if I wake up really early and I go on a run, at least I've like done something for myself and finished something that I said I was gonna finish in the day. And that's like how I started my day, before my day can become like, more, not spontaneous, but like before I felt like my day became everybody else's day. And then when I had kids, that was also like really important for me, that I wasn't gonna lose that. It feels very much like a part of my day where I can go wherever I want. I run outside, so I can be outside. I love being outside. And it just like is mine. Nobody can interrupt me. I'm just alone outside running. So in 2019, I had like a bunch of work stuff that was like happening, and then some stuff that was like happening and then not happening and then happening and then not happening, like getting your dream acting job, and like then being like, just kidding, we have to hire a different ethnicity or something, whatever. And it was a week before the LA Marathon, and I've run a bunch of half marathons, but I'd never run a marathon, and I never really cared to run a marathon. But I was like, I think I need to accomplish something that's just mine, that's like feels like physical with my body, that has nothing to do with work. I don't know if it's because of like growing up like a gymnast and a cheerleader. I was like, I just need to like feel in my body, and like I did something for myself that has nothing to do with anybody else, and I don't have to wait on anybody or get a yes from anybody else. So I signed up for this marathon a week before, and everybody was freaking out. Even my therapist at the time was like, I don't know if this is a good idea. Like, you have to train for a marathon, like all this stuff. And I was like, I think I'm gonna be fine. I run every day. I mean, it's only 45 minutes, but like, I think I'm gonna be fine. And everybody was like, oh my gosh, okay. Except for Marco. Marco was kind of like, yeah, this seems about right for you. This seems like a normal vibe of yours. And I'm pretty impulsive as well. Like I have a hard time waiting. So I signed up, and then I went to run, and I ended up running really fast and finished like in the top 8% of my age group. And I beat all my guy friends who were running it as well, like by a lot. And it was hard at the end, especially when my phone died and I couldn't listen to music. It was hard, but it was really cool because it was through LA, and I felt like I was doing this thing for myself to be like, nothing matters, work stuff doesn't matter, but I got to like run through the whole city, and I have so many memories here of like, oh, I did that job there, or that's where this happened, or I met this person there. And it was cool I've never done anything in my own city that I've lived in, to just like kind of reminisce along the run. I thought it was really special. And then after I was done, my cousin texted me and he's like, you qualified for the Boston Marathon. And I was like, what? I did. And I went to look it up, and I actually missed it by like 1 minute. And I was like, oh my God, I said I was never gonna do a marathon again, but now like I weirdly am like, should I try so I can qualify for the Boston Marathon? But I decided like, I don't care. I would rather be able to walk for the rest of the month than do another marathon. And I just like needed to do it at that time of my life, and I don't feel like I need to anymore. But I did, that's a lie, I did run in one other marathon. I forgot about this until just now. Okay, so when I lived in Hawaii, part of our responsibility as cheerleaders, being on a scholarship in Hawaii, was like our school was covered, but we had to do all these events that we got hired by like outside companies. The school got hired, so the school got all the money for the cheerleaders to show up at certain things. And one of the events that we did every year was we cheered on the Honolulu Marathon, and we had to be there like at the crack of dawn, because marathons start at the crack of dawn. But we had to be in our uniform with our pom-poms, like looking like a, bright and shiny cheerleader. And I had stayed the night at my boyfriend's house the night before, and I needed to go home and get into my uniform and get to this like side of the road mile marker that my group was stationed at. And we all had mopeds at the time. So I'm in my pajamas, and it's like 5 a.m. And I think like, okay, I can go home by 5 or 6 a.m, whatever time it was. I can go home, change into my uniform. All the streets are closed. Everybody's like lined up for the marathon to start. And I finally like get through like back road, find a way. And I lived in this high-rise apartment building in Honolulu. It was like right across I was here, there was a street, and then there was my building. And this is the street where everybody was running the marathon. And so I had to cross that street to get up to my apartment, and I'm in my pajamas, like doing the walk of shame. And there's people lined up outside. The marathon is in full-blown action. Like people are like running. It's like at the beginning of it, so it's like densely packed with people. And I went up to this police officer and I was like, I need to get over there. And I'm like, I probably was hungover. And I was like, I need to get to my apartment to put on my cheerleading uniform. And he's like, what? And I was like, how do I cross? And he's like, well, you're gonna have to leave your moped here. So I locked up my moped, and he's like, and then you're gonna have to just like run in the crowd of people and like try and like make your way over as you're running across the street. So I like have a backpack on, I think, and I'm like fake running through the crowd of people in the marathon. And I get to the other side of the street, there's people in lawn chairs outside set up, and they're like, come on, because I start to walk off, and they're like, you got it, you were doing great, like why are you stopping? And I was like, I'm not in this. And like I remember like rushing up, and I made it on time, but I was like, this was not ideal. I did not want to run in this marathon. So that was my other marathon that I ran. But I do feel like exercise and all that kind of stuff has been like a huge part of my life, and I'm glad that I like running, and it makes me feel better and happier and all the things. And I feel like I found a way to make it like normal, even though it's extreme for other people. It feels normal for me as like an ex-competitive college cheerleader, because most people don't know what to do after, because cheerleading is such a sport that you need other people to do it, just like most Olympic sports or team sports. When you're at a certain level and it ends, you're like, what do I do with myself? I'm used to like moving my body in like an extreme way, and like to having some kind of an adrenaline rush of being thrown like 30 feet in the air. So, I mean, you know, at least I went to just running instead of like hard drugs, right? All right, have a great week, guys. Bye.